When companies are starting out, it's easy to stay aligned. But as you grow and get more muscle and more resources, it gets harder and harder. Global enterprises that continue to grow year after year have a secret weapon against misalignment. It's called revenue operations. This is Club Revenue, and I'm Cornelius Willis. Revenue operations is rapidly becoming mandatory among the best companies in the world, and for good reason. This business function creates accountability at scale across every revenue stream in the entire company. When done well, every member of the sales, marketing, and customer success organizations are aligned around the company's strategic goals. The job of revenue operations is to make sure those goals are transparent and provide accountable objectives for every individual in the revenue organization. According to Gartner, 75% of the highest growth companies in the world will be run with revenue operations by 2025. Alignment around the single function revenue operations, instead of a bunch of disparate, siloed departments, comes with massive benefits, including standardized reporting, standardized metrics, and standardized tools. But revenue operations doesn't have to be a department or title. It's the principles behind the framework that drive efficient and predictable growth. The tight alignment of go-to-market teams that embrace revenue operations leads to a 10 to 20% increase in sales productivity. Our guest today is no stranger to revenue operations. Pilar Schenk has been putting the revenue operations framework into practice for years. First as the Vice President of Global Sales Strategy and Operations at McAfee, and now as the COO of Cisco Collaboration. She's also a founding member of the Revenue Operations Council. Pilar, welcome to Club Revenue.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. And I'm so excited to be a founding member of the Revenue Operations Council. It's been a ton of fun.
It totally has. I'd love to hear your perspective on the revenue operations movement. Is there something that changed out in the business world that made adopting a revenue operations framework more critical?
I do think so. And I think so even more after 2020. And let me tell you about that. So what has happened out in the world is I think we're becoming more and more digital. It's certainly something that Clary has helped with, but the idea that we can use data, we can use our digital platforms to power and help us have better outcomes with our customers, help our sales teams be more efficient, has been a big game changer. And you think back to the days before CRM, or even with CRM, but we weren't really using it. We put some stuff in, but we did a lot of stuff in Excel. To today, right? And really good SaaS organizations not only have CRM, but they have forecasting modules, they have cadence modules, they're using AI for listening. It's a whole different game out there. And on how you take all of that data, how you activate all that data to help your sales teams and help your customers is a total game changer. And I think that's where revenue ops is becoming such a powerful force, is that we own and we know how to leverage that data. We know how to use those tools to create those better outcomes. And that's a pretty great place to be.
Now you said better outcomes there. What kind of better outcomes are you talking about?
Well, I think you start with the customer, right? And outside in first, right? And it's really around, are we meeting the customer's needs when they come to Clary, when they come to Cisco, when they come to my former employer, McAfee? Are we getting them what they want and what we promised them? I think from a sales team, we're looking at our overall internal goals, and these vary by company, but every company has bookings and revenue commitments that they need to make. And underneath that, you probably are talking about pipeline. And underneath that, you're probably talking about productivity. But I think they vary by organization and vary across customer set. But it's defining those outcomes and then ensuring that we can get there.
How do you help the teams get the most value out of the revenue operations framework? Is there a way you help everyone work effectively together?
Well, we're right in the middle of that as we kick off the 2022 year at Cisco. And I call it the business management system. And a management system takes your strategic priorities and defines it into what is your management system to drive it, that you can quickly assess performance and take action. Now, it sounds, of course, absolutely. Why wouldn't you do that? Every company does that, but it's harder to do than you think, right? You have to get very, very specific around, okay, if these are our strategic priorities, what are the things that we're going to do? How do we know that we are doing them? And not just at the time where we finish up the quarter or the year and maybe we get diet tissues or champagne, depending on how we did, but how do we know along the way that it's working or it's not? And how do we define that? And then how do we enable our sales leaders to be able to see that every day with both not only visibility with something like Clary, where you can see your forecast or you can see your funnel, you can see you don't have enough pipeline, but also the cadence, right? Let's run our forecast calls out of there and let's look. Forecast is incredibly important. We need more pipeline this year, or we need more focus on renewals. So if renewals is a priority, we're going to have metrics that tell us how we're doing around renewals early. And then we're going to have time where we have a cadence where we spend time reviewing it. And then I think critical to that is making sure that's enabled not just at the most senior level, the CRO, but all the way down to the rep, right? And all the way back up. So everybody can see that same single source of truth and ensure that we're all marching in the same direction. I'm a huge believer in, the power of together. So together is power. I say it all the time. And I think when we line up everyone against a couple of strategic goals and we give everybody that playbook, we're pretty darn good about making it happen.
That is a great description of revenue operations at work. It really comes down to connecting strategy and execution at scale. Getting everyone enabled and bought into the tools and processes of revenue operations is the key to unlocking breakthrough performance. For more on that, let's check in with Clary's Holly Proctor for some metrics that matter.
Thanks, C-Dub. A connected organization built around the framework of revenue operations will be mandatory for high-performing companies in the years to come. In fact, the best companies are already putting the ideas of revenue operations into practice and getting ahead of their peers, to the tune of 71% higher stock performance for public companies, according to Forrester. The benefits don't stop there. Sales teams are seeing seller productivity increase as teams focus on the right data and metrics with the best tools, leading to 15% more profit. Marketing teams are also seeing improvements to campaigns with 100 to 200% increases in digital marketing ROI and 10% increases in lead acceptance. Adopting a revenue operations framework gives teams the ability to grow with transparency and accountability. From reps to managers to executives, having clear business metrics reduces friction and creates a path to success. Back to you, C-Dub.
All right, Pilar, I'm going to ask you a spicy question here. You put these cadences and tools in place, you give people the single source of truth, you do all the things that revenue operations says you should. What do you do when teams or leaders aren't excited about the changes or keep using the old broken ways?
Yeah. Does that happen? I didn't know that happened. I'm kidding. Yeah, look, I think it starts with trust and listening. So I talked about a management system and establishing that and strategic priorities. I'm literally doing that right now at Cisco with our organization. And it's when I say our organizations, the overall collaboration organization, so the BU, the finance, every geo leader. And I'm going to them and saying, what cadence do you think we need to meet our goals this year? What meetings do you want? What meetings don't you want? What KPIs do you want? And what KPIs don't you want? And then we're going to go build out a lot of these things if they don't exist and put them in place, and we'll have the cadence. Now, why I do that is because I know that there's blind spots, right? I guarantee you I don't know what's going on in Japan as well as the Japanese leaders are going to tell me, right? So we build that connection, we build that trust. But the other side of that is a give and take. Speed of Trust is such a great book. He talks about that in there, which is, look, I'm going to listen and I'm going to, we're going to commit. And if we say, these are the things that we want to do, and these are the things that are important, and then I give it to you, I'm going to expect that you use it.
Pilar, huge thanks for joining us today and sharing the power of revenue operations. And a big thank you for being a visionary in the Revenue Operations Council. I'm Cornelius Willis. Thanks for watching. Join us next time for another real-world revenue strategy right here on Club Revenue.